On Two Wheels this week, Jeff finds out about a new, very special superbike, a cross between an R7 and an R1. It's the R71. And some news about this year's International Bike Show. But first, Wayne spends the day with a supermoto rider.
We've come to a racing circuit today. Not so much to show you the actual racing, but to introduce you to a mate of mine, a guy who is absolutely barn pot. He's crazy on a motorcycle. A guy called Warren Steele. Now then, the thing about Warren is he doesn't ride bikes like this. He rides a bike that uses a big fat tyre like the one on this particular R6, but on a motocross style machine, because he does supermoto. So come and meet Warren. So this is my barmy mate Warren. Now I've introduced you as barmy Warren, but I don't mean it disrespectful. I mean it as in you've got a wild streak about you when you ride these two-wheel devices of various different types. But you've just took a liking to this supermoto lad. Why?
Well, it's a bit similar to motocross. You don't have to train as much on your fitness.
Oh, you lazy old bag.
You can go to booze the night before.
Oh, don't admit that. But I don't blame you, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good sport. It's a growing sport. There's a lot of interest. A lot of people come to follow it. And it's...
But your background is motocross. Originally you were well into your motocross and very successful at it. And do you think that helps with doing this supermoto?
Yeah, it does when they have full supermoto rules now. A lot of supermoto races now are on tarmac. Yeah. But proper supermoto rules is like 50% tarmac, 50% dirt, which that's when your motocross skills come into it.
And that's where you come into it, yeah. But you've let's admit now that even though you've done one meeting only up until today, you won that meeting. Yeah. You showed them your backside, and the lads weren't happy about this, were they? This new face on the block comes along and just does the business. Right, was it because of the off-road bit, or were you fairly confident on the road bit?
The tarmac at first, it took me a while to get used to it. You know, I was basically on their speed on the tarmac. I wasn't quicker, I was about the same. But then as soon as we got in the dirt, I was in my own league.
Yeah, in the element, I suppose.
In the element, that's right. Yeah. Just, it suited me down to the ground.
Yeah. So having done, well, this is your second meeting, and you're just primed to go out and do your bit. Yeah. So having done 2 meetings, do you think you're going to stick to it then? Or yeah.
As you can see, we've got the setup here now. So
you've got a tremendous setup. I mean, and there's a lot of people helping out. I mean, have you got an organised team, or is it just all hands on deck and everyone helps out?
Well, I've got a fairly good package together now. Where I work, my boss Vaughan Evans is sorting me out with tyres and the van, and as you can see, all the equipment.
Yeah. So that helps, doesn't it?
Really, it's a great help. Yeah.
Yeah, now listen, I've clocked Warren here, and I reckon he's nicking the carburettor off this bike, because you can't trust these lads nowadays. Hey up, Warren, what are you doing? I hope you're not nicking any bits off this nice bike.
No, I'm just running over it basically, just making sure it's prepared for the race. You know, nothing's come loose, as you can see.
The final check light, yeah. Tell us a bit about this bike, Warren. I mean, how did it start life?
Well, it was basically an enduro motocross bike, 620 single cylinder. I just had motocross wheels on it. And then you get Talon wheels, which is specialised in conversions.
Yeah, they make the wheels up, don't they, with special wide rims and everything to take road tyres, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So, what's the score here? Are you afraid of getting a bit of dirt on these tyres or something?
No, these are tyre warmers. Get your tyres to the temperature before the race. Not to full race temperature. Just to basically give you a bit of an edge when you go out, you see.
The shock absorber unit, do you keep that the same, or do you alter the damping and
we just make it slightly harder, and then the rebound. Make that slightly slower.
So you can deliver the power and everything,
right,
How about the front end? Do you do any alterations to that?
There's just as I say, same again, different wheel, big disc conversion. We've got your bracket there to space your caliper out. And then just stiffen the forks up, the same as on the back really. Yeah. Just stop that from diving down the front end, because you've got like 13 inches of travel. Yeah. Because obviously it's for motocross.
That's right, yeah.
Which is not needed on a roadway circuit or supermoto circuit. So you just basically put spaces in the forks to compress the springs down.
Fair enough. What about the choice of it being a KTM? Was there any particular reason for that?
Well, they seem to be a good bike on the supermoto circuit. They're fairly light, but it just seems to suit the supermoto, and it's what I like riding. and it goes well.
Fair enough then. Right, we'll leave you to doing the bits and pieces.
Yeah,
Don't
great.
be nicking that shock absorber, it's nice that. Will that fit my bike, do you think? I've got one of them
You can
little
have a go
mopeds.
fitting.
Right, we're going to leave Warren in peace now because you see, he needs to be focused. He needs to be race prepped. You know, you've got to just get your eye on the job, haven't you? So he's going out and doing a bit of practice. Meanwhile, I'm going to get a little bit of sustenance. You know. So just a second, Jeff. Any chance of a burger, mate?
Yeah, must be joking.
Oh, thank you very much. How is it? I can never get a burger off these fellas. Right, so you've had a practice. We've seen you going around doing your bit of scratching and all that lot. But
Yeah.
there's a hive of activity, Warren. What's the problem? What's happening?
Well, seems to be getting too much heat in my front tyre, and it's sliding out in the front, in the corners and that. After the first lap, it's okay. Then when the tyre's getting a little bit too hot, it's starting to slide around on the track. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a harder compound tyre on, which at first it'll be a little bit sketchy on the track, a little bit slippy, but once you get the heat into the tyre, it's going to be absolutely...
So you have to work really hard very early on, aren't you? To get some heat into
that's
it,
right, yeah.
Well, that should be interesting.
So-
Right then, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Could be a good bit, that, you know, we might get a bit where you're just going A over T, but we won't want that, right? We don't do that, just warm it up nicely. Right then, but they're working on the back. What's the score with the back?
Well, the gearing, we're not getting nowhere near top gear on the course, so we're going to go up on the sprocket on the back.
Yeah.
We're going to go up 2 teeth on the sprocket, and that'll allow a bit more acceleration for the bike. So a bit of luck, it'll be a little bit better out in the race. But it's a shame we haven't got another practice to try the bike out. You know, it's going to have to be in the race and see how we get on. But you know.
But in the practice, you went out first of all on the little 2-stroke first, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you not like that or something? Did it not suit the
No,
circuit?
we're having carburettor problems with it. The main jet in the carburettor was a little bit too big for the fuel. We're running half gas on it now, which is a high octane fuel. Now the bike's blubbering top end, so that's why we've done a lap and then we jumped straight onto the 4-stroke, the bigger CC.
So I noticed now that the little one is now donor
Yeah.
by using the back sprocket of the little one on the big one.
pinching
But that's
bubbles off
ideal,
that
isn't
one.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you've got it. You're the running spares. Fair enough then. Well, let's see how you get on in the race then. Wish you the best of luck.
Great, thanks a lot.
So it's getting back noisy and a hive of activity now because racing has commenced and Warren is out there as we speak racing. I hope he does very well. I'll have a word if he doesn't. I did get a burger, but the chef is in hospital as we speak. But we did actually get to go and visit Warren at his place of work, if you can call it a place of work, playing on his various different toys. Here, Sean, you better have that. It's flipping dangerous. Give us that mic. Warren, what on earth is that thing? It's frightening.
Well, it's a Californian GoPed they call them, originally from the States. Now they're over here.
That's not standard, that thing.
No,
I mean,
that's a fully blown race ped. That.
It was frightening when it got going. I mean, that wasn't a very good impression, was it, of riding a racing GoPed? But it was very, very exciting, exhilarating. But in normal form, something like this one you've got here.
Yeah, that's just
yeah.
a standard ped basically. You can just buy from your shop more or less anywhere now. You can get hold of them.
Great fun. But you've got two of these things, and I'm stood by a jet bike, and we've got bikes all over the flipping place. Is this what you term as work?
No, we do some sort of form of work. Got to earn a living somehow. Most of the time, I'm playing on the toys, as you can see here. But you know, we do pull our weight here.
Oh, honestly, yeah, believe it. If this is what you call work, I want this job. I start on Monday. But listen, this jet bike's got no wheels. I mean, I thought wheels was the qualification. Why jet bikes?
Just a form of fun, really. Vaughan Evans, my boss, is 3 times national jet ski champion. Back in '96, I think, the last time we won the championship. I've just got into it through that, basically. I just purely fun. Me and my girlfriend go out as much as we can.
But I mean, you'll have a go at anything, won't you? I know this. And there's certain things you want to keep secret, don't you? And if you tell us about it, then you'll probably have to kill me. But we need to share the secret on telly about this microlight that didn't go up as much as it went along. I'm not telling you who's told me. Go on, tell us about your microlight.
Yeah, me and Vaughan, we bought a microlight 4 or 5 years ago. Thought we could literally just buy it, take it down a park and go flying for a bit of a laugh. But it didn't seem to work out that way. You need licenses and all that and some sort of training. So we bought it anyway, got it out in the industrial estate, never put the wing on it, and we just used to fly up and down the industrial estate. And that was about it really. I think we've been out of our depth really.
I think really, with all the go-peds, the jet bikes, jet skis, supermotos, road bikes and microlights on the ground, there's definitely something wrong with you, mate. You know, you need treatment. But I mean, your passion is two wheels and you're a motocross ace of the past and you wanted to get back into doing race use, so you're into your supermotos. But I mean, you ride a road bike, don't you? I mean, a regular road bike anyway.
Yeah, I get on the road bike as much as I can. We all go up to Wales at weekends, all my friends and that. I just do as many track days as I can and get a bit of experience on that, and just purely fun really, and get the buzz of the road and the power of the bikes and that.
Yeah. But just going back to your real passion at the moment is your supermotos. Are we going to stick to this, or is this another fad?
I'm gonna hang out on that sport for a bit. I'm gonna race all the championships I can. Get over to the continent, over to Ireland, and just do as much as I can really. I'm fairly new to the sport, so I don't really know how it works. But at the moment, I'm racing every weekend.
New to the sport, but I already am aware of the fact that you've also kicked ass. I mean, you've done some winning and you've been close up on the rostrum anyway. So do you think you've just took to it naturally? Is it the off-road bit or the road bit?
Yeah, I took to the off-road bit naturally, of course, through the motocross. The tarmac took a bit of getting used to, but now I think I'm as quick as anyone on the tarmac. I'm only down to my third meeting, so I'm getting quicker and quicker all the time.
We do wish you the best of luck, and truth is we're going to keep our eye on you as well and give you some earache if you don't keep on that rostrum. So the best of luck with it all.
Yeah,
cheers, Warren. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cheers.
After the break on two wheels, Jeff looks at a very special R71.
Right, now let's see. You take a world superbike contender in the shape of an R7, but because it's not really quick enough, we stuff in an R1 motor. We'll add some world superbike suspension, I think, trim it with a bit of carbon fibre, shed a few kilos, and hey presto, an R71. And what a machine. If you thought an R1 was fast and frisky, this is not only fast, but furious too. The QB Carbon R71 really is race-like, from the uncompromising riding position to the trigger-sharp performance. Neil Mackenzie or Noriyuki Haga could do wonders on this, but I can only wonder. It looks the business, it is the business, but why make it? We know the R7 is hard to come by, we know the engine is unsuited for the road, but what's so wrong with an R1? John Merrill is QB Carbon, so I asked him. Now John, I think it's probably fair to say that everyone knows QB better for carbon fibre bits for Ducatis, like your beautiful example over there. But why this swap to Yamaha? That's what I want to know.
Well, my allegiance is still to Ducatis, but I felt that there's another allegiance to the public.
And you're a keen race fan anyway, and so you've been following Yamaha generally, haven't you? And especially the R7?
Yeah, we've been sponsoring Yamaha for 3 years now, and when the R1 came out, we felt what a bike, and the press told the public how good it was, and momentum picked up from there. And I went to the NEC last year, saw the R7 and just fell in love with it and thought, what a project to put together to tell to the public, but obviously couldn't get a hold of the bike, couldn't alter the bike, so looked at the next best thing was the R1, approached Yamaha if I could convert R1s into R7, if they would come along with me, and they said yes, as long as it was sold as a bike from a Yamaha dealer.
So what did you do first, John? Did you start off with a standard R1?
Yes, we purchased a brand new R1 because it got a fine pedigree. We then took it to Sponge Engineering and got a fine pedigree of building special bikes. We then got hold of our R7 and we made a jig from it. So we got all the correct dimensions of the R7. So we basically cut the R1 up and regrafted new parts on to R7 dimensions. Basically, the subframe was cut away and a new subframe was grafted on to take all the R7 components.
Now, is that swinging arm a brand new one, or have you modified the standard one?
That is a standard one that we've actually modified by lengthening it 20 mil and widening it at 30 mil as well.
So why did you lengthen it?
Because we have found through racing that the fast bikes go really well with a longer swinging arm and they're more stable.
Especially on a bumpy circuit like the Isle of Man.
Yeah, especially on the Isle of Man.
And while we're talking of sort of stability, you've got some really nice suspension here. Öhlins forks, yeah?
Yes, well, we use the Öhlins World Superbike forks 1999, incorporating multi-adjustable headstocks where you can alter the actual rake of the front forks.
This top fork yoke, I was intrigued by that because on the Ducatis we're used to being able to alter the yoke, but they've done it in a slightly different way.
We've actually just used a fitting that actually bolts in, and you can actually change the dimension of those particular products to alter the rake of the steering.
And what else is new up the front end? What about all the bracketry and what?
Well, all the bracketry had to be made new for the actual clocks, the fairings and the electric components that have got to be housed on there, because the other option of the bike was to put it into a track day bike as well, where they could actually take the standard fairing off and put a race fairing on. So we'd got to make a bracket to house all the electric components and not have them just dangling away.
Yeah, because in fact you do two fairings, don't you? You have the road one and then you do a racing one with a blanked out headlight.
Yes, this is on the SPS where we actually give them a top fairing pre-painted in the World Superbike colours, so the actual customer can come a harger on his track day.
Gets the ability as well, does he, all in one go?
Well, the bike's got the ability, whether the customer has, that's debatable.
And so it's sticking out the top of the frame here is the new carbon fibre airbox, but there's more to it than just being carbon fibre, isn't it? It's your own special.
Yes, we actually worked with a guy called Ray Stringer on the airbox on the R1, and we found that the R1 was probably lacking a little bit on the on getting air, so we used the same technology that we'd been using on the boost bikes of last year by pulling air from above the radiator. So we actually made the airbox very similar to the YZF of last year's model, on the old model. And then we incorporated a filter, because it's very important on the road. You have a filter on to give the safety and the reliability of road use.
And tell me, this frame, is this standard? Because it's got the black R7 finish, hasn't it?
Yes, it was actually anodised for a start, and then it was sent away, and it's a new type of paint system that you use on aircraft. Very hard wearing, very flexible as well, so obviously take up any little movement in the bike, that it doesn't crack and flake off. Another new technique that we've used on the actual bike.
And on this one, anything done to the engine, John? Has it been tweaked or?
No, because, I mean, the beauty of this project is, and other people have done similar projects, and because the bikes of the past have not had massive horsepowers, we felt with the R1 engine, a very, very good engine, and there was no need to incorporate in the ram air system. We're up to 150 brake horsepower, and we feel that is plenty. And if it has to go further, yes, we can actually alter the cylinder heads and put different cams in.
You do have a neat exhaust system on this, and that's your own as well, isn't it?
Again, what we've been selling exhaust now for 3 years, and we have a company down in Oxford that make exhaust for Formula One cars. So again, we went to their expertise to produce an exhaust. Again, it's a one-off exhaust specially made for the R7. And obviously the exhaust is part of the engine room to make power.
Now, I can see the standard of finish is absolutely spot on. I mean, it really does look like a production bike. So did that make it easier to get the guarantee from Yamaha then?
Yamaha were happy for us to do the project as long as it was sold through a Yamaha dealer. And they did the PDI check and made sure the bike was safe to be run on the road.
Yeah, and it's a full standard Yamaha warranty then, yeah, because
Full
they're all
Yamaha
warranty.
Yeah,
they're
it's got
all,
a 2-year warranty on the bike.
Yeah, okay. And bottom line then, how much? Now you do 2 forms of these, don't you?
Yes.
So what can you have? What are you expected to pay?
Well, the basic price is the R71 is £18,300, and that bike has the R7 Öhlins forks in. The SPS is at $20,300. The only difference is it's got the World Superbike forks in. All the other components come on the SPS as the standard SP. They're exact. The only difference is the World Superbike forks.
One thing that we didn't mention earlier, the rear suspension, of course, that's Öhlins as well, and that's different to stock, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the multi-adjustable Öhlins that gives you the chance to adjust the suspension while you're actually riding.
And all this really does work well together. It's got that special on-the-edge thoroughbred feel to it. In fact, it's all about feel, with the suspension being set up specifically for each customer by Ken Somerton, who also looks after the Red Bull Ducatis. Braking and handling are superb, as you'd expect, while the engine just has that extra bit of sparkle at the top end. Finely honed, ready to do more, and that special feeling that you're one of a few. And at £20,000 plus, you'll remain that way. Oh, I nearly forgot. You also get a paddock stand, a special R71 shirt, a bike cover, a race cushion seat, and that second top fairing. That's for those track days, if you dare.
This is a motorcycle showroom. It's the kind of place you would visit if you wanted to look at all the latest machinery.
Not only have you got all the latest machines to look at, you've got all the latest accessories as well. You've got your supes, your boots, your helmets, your gloves, alarms, locks, chains, everything. What more could you ask for?
But if you do want to see absolutely everything, then you need to go to a bike show. And the Two Wheels team will be at the biggest event this year, the International Show in Birmingham.
So why don't you come and see us at the show, and we'll give you some advice on the best helmets to buy and the best jackets and clothing to wear, and even on bike testing. Paul and Jeff have done loads of testing. They'll give you some of their ideas, what they thought was best. Because we are real, we're humans, you know. You can speak to us, even buy us a drink maybe. Come and see us down at the bike show.
And all the details of where we will be and when we will be there can be found on the Men and Motors website. So have a look and we'll see you there. And coming up next week on Two Wheels, Wayne spends a very noisy evening at the Supercross in Manchester, and he meets the man from Indiana, top American Supercross rider Mike LaRocco.